Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to discuss about data gateways in Power BI. So what is the use of data gateway in Power BI? So what exactly is the use? So whenever we wanted to connect our data source, right, which is sitting on a local machine, right? So let's say, I'll also give you a valid example. So let's say you have built a report based upon some cloud-based data source. Let me show you the example. Let's say we have a report which is built on SharePoint folder. Okay, this was a report built from a SharePoint folder, which was sitting there was an Excel file sitting on a SharePoint site. Okay, and I've connected to that particular report. Okay, so now if you open that report, like let's say I wanted to refresh that data set or a semantic model, right? Everybody knows, right? A data set is now called as a semantic model. So if you wanted to refresh that particular data set, right? If you go back to that semantic model, click on settings, and since it is built on top of a cloud-based thing, which is a SharePoint Excel, so the authentication would happen directly from here, right? That means this is already showing the data source called SharePoint, and the edit credentials will directly take you to the sign-in page because it can sign in to that data source directly from the cloud, from the browser, right? So everybody knows, right? The default authentication methods is OAuth2, and the organization is the standard that we use because it's a Microsoft, SharePoint is the same Microsoft application, right? We use this and click on sign in. It will authenticate with your user, and then it will try to authenticate, like, it will just give me confirmation that, if there is an error, or if you do not have any authorization, it will show you here. Since I have authorization, I'm the right person, so we do not have any error. And then I can go to the next step called refresh. So since this is cleared, the very first step is cleared, and it will allow you to refresh the dataset, and you can continue with the schedule. So since we are in pro license, we can refresh this for 8 times, right? So if you are using premium license, you can go to up till 48 refreshes. So you can see we do not have a next option to add a new time. So already 8 are completed, so you cannot see. So if you see these are deleted ones, you can see add another time. So once I add that, you cannot see next one because 8 are the minimum for pro license. Maximum for the pro license. So once this is set up, automatically this refresh keeps happening. As you can see, the refresh, the past history, every day this the refresh was happening. Okay, you can see every now and then, as per the time stamp, you can see so many refreshes happening. Of course, we can see there is some disable. Because of some other activity, it might have been disabled. But you can see all the every day from past few days, it is being refreshing regularly. In fact, from last year, November 21st is being refreshing, right? You can see the schedule. So this is a story about data source which is connected to the cloud-based one. Now we are talking about the gateway. So the gateway will come into picture when your data source is sitting on the on-premises, or a on-premises means what? A local machine or a server machine or a physical machine, right? So since the Excel file, let's say let's take this example. So right now this report is built based upon what? So you can check the data source settings and see there's a path. It's sitting on my drive where a particular folder called the dataset is sales underscore dataset. So let me just open that. So this is the Excel file that is being used in this PBIX file. This is a Power BI desktop file. So if I wanted to publish this report to the cloud and I want to set up a refresh, right? So then what? Then you need a data gateway because it doesn't know how to connect to your machine. So for that, I need to, because Power BI service is a online version, right? It's a cloud-based version, and your Excel file is sitting on your local machine. So if you have to connect that Excel file, let's say regularly that Excel file is being updated, and you wanted to schedule a refresh on top of that. So that has to be, there has to be any connection to the cloud, right? So that is what is the data gateway. We are building a bridge between your local machine and the cloud using data gateway. So that is what is the data gateway. So basically we have two types of data gateways. Let me just download data gateway Power BI. So when you search for this, we'll get something here. I'll show you. So as you can see, we have standard mode and personal mode. These are the two standards data gateways available in Power BI. Okay. So as you can see, connect to on-premises data sources with a Power BI gateway. So basic differences I'll tell you. So on-premises data gateway, which is the standard mode, is used to connect a number of tools like Power Apps along with Power BI, Azure Logic Apps, Power Automate, Azure Analysis Services, data flows, a lot of other benefits you have. While personal mode, like the other gateway which is on the personal mode, is only available to connect to Power BI itself. Okay, and then we have the serves multiple users in standard mode. Many users can use the same thing, while as personal gateway is only for yourself, right? Only particular user can. So and there are a lot of other different things available which we are not going into deeper. Okay, so we are looking at from the superficial level because this is all very technical and it's not that important. Okay, unless or until you are implementing that particular data gateway. So let us just try to install and implement as a developer. So we're not going like an admin perspective there. Okay, so this is the major difference. And once you click on download, so I'm going to install this standard gateway so that let me download that, because that is better than personal gateway. So if you wanted to keep it simple, you can use personal gateway also, but for both the installation procedure and everything remains the same. Okay, so since it's 550 MB, I think it's pretty fast though. Let's give it few seconds. Yeah, I think the download is finished. So let me just go back to the folder and try to install it. So let me just double click on this gateway. So it is asking you to install to this particular path. Let me accept the terms of use. Click on install. The installation is very simple. Okay, as you can see, I think the installation was successful after quite some time. So email address to use with this gateway. So I will have to mention the email address used to with this gateway. I'm going to use this particular email address. Call me at @santoshportnoy.com. Just add it here. Click on next. Sign in. Let me just authorize it. I'll have to paste my password. Just give me a moment. Just enter my password, and once you enter the password, to sign in, and then it will assign that particular. I mean, we are registering a new gateway to this computer. So let me click on registering new gateway. So if you have already a gateway and you wanted to restore it, right, you can also do that. If you are migrating from one machine to other machine, you can also do that. So right now we are registering a new gateway, a new on-premises data gateway name. I would like to give some new name to it. Let's say Discovery Hub. You can say Analytics Discovery Hub Gateway. It's quite big name, but let's keep that. And let me add recovery key. And then configure it. Think. Now we are going to configure, so it's automatically configuring it. So once it is done, we can see a green tick mark or a sign of completion. So let's wait for that. See, so this green tick mark will show you the gateway analytics discovery hub gateway is online and ready to be used, right? So now we can see we can use this gateway and go to the next step. So now let's go back to our demonstration. So let's go back to the report. So the idea now is to demonstrate this particular report is basically connected to this particular Excel file, right? So let's see, this is the Excel file. So if you look at the data, this particular pie chart is based upon the total revenue and channel, the channel versus total revenue. So the channel is basically, we only have three channels: wholesale, distributor, export. So go back to the original data set. What I'm going to do is I'm going to alter the data so that I can see the new channel. So as you can see here, this channel column from the sales table has got only 3 different values. But just to make sure I see a different channel coming up in my pie chart, I'm just changing these values. Let's say I change it to what do you say? Let's say analytics hub, something like that. I'll just copy and paste all of this value so that I have some new channel coming up in my pie chart. So I'm going to save this file. So now the idea is we have updated an Excel file. So everybody knows how this new data will reflect in this report. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll not refresh this report now. Before that refresh, I'll just publish this report. Okay. I'll just save this report and I am not refresh this because that data was just updated. So I'm not going to refresh this. I'm going to publish this report maybe in the demo RLS section. Let's say I'll double check if you already have any file over there. So let's go back to our new workspace called demo RLS. Okay. So in this workspace, there's no report called DAX decoded. So I'm going to publish this DAX, name of the report is DAX decoded, right? So I'm going to publish this into demo RLS workspace and select. So now you can go back to this report on the cloud. So once you see the success message here, you can go back. Yeah, you can see the success message. Now we go back and refresh this page so that you can see this new report sitting here. Yeah. So as you can see the new report. So now you can see the report is only showing the 3 channels, right? The pie chart is only 3 channels, obviously. So now everybody knows, right? Here we can refresh this report, click on a refresh button. Automatically this Power BI X file will refresh the data of the Excel sheet and pull the new data, which is Analytics Hub, as a new channel. So here we should see 4 channels coming up if you look at the pie chart. See, as you can see, there's a very small chunk here, minor chunk, which is Analytics Hub, which is the 4th channel reflecting here. So now this has to be automatically reflected on your Power BI service. So I don't want to publish it again because that is not the activity that I'm not going to do on a everyday basis or every month basis. So I'm not going to do that. So once I publish my report to the cloud, this has to be taken care of. That's where we automatically schedule that report, right? Automatically schedule the report. So for scheduling it again, since this report is coming from a local Excel file, let's try to schedule it, right? We already saw that, right? We will not be able to schedule it because the data source settings, when the data source credentials will not be active. Why? Because the source is Excel, which is sitting on a local machine. So how do the when this cloud knows to connect to my machine? So I've set up a data gateway, but I need to configure it. So in order to configure that, what you have to do is you have to create some connection. As you can see, the gateway is showing up. Analytics Discovery Hub gateway was configured by me, but saying it still has something to take care. So you have to click on this option called Manage Connections and Gateways. So this will take you to the new area where you can see you can create a new connection. Okay. So right now, as you can see, there's an on-premises data gateway which was created, which is a tick mark, and its status is online. Okay. So let's click on this so that I can check status online. So this is already online. As you can see, this is online. So the gateway is ready, but we have to set up a connection to connect to this gateway from the cloud. So I'm going to create a new connection from here. Okay. I'm going to just select this new cluster name called Analytics Discovery Hub Gateway. Yes. And the connection name, I'll try to give maybe Excel data connection. Okay. Any name you can give. The connection type is file. So basically you need to select the file types. There are many types you can see. Depending on the selection, the following options will come. Let's say you are selecting SQL Server. The next subsequent steps would be related to SQL Server credentials or something related to that. So right now we have selected file. So this is related to your Excel file. So it is also giving you a suggestion like it should be C:/ like this. So you have to select till the .csv file. That means .xlsx file in our case. So how do I get that? I go back to my report. I'll get the source data source settings. I have to select this, copy path to clipboard. I'll have to go back and paste it. Right. This is how you get the path. So once you got the path, you have to make sure the system is Windows is the authentication method because it has to connect to your Windows machine. So for that you have to provide your Windows username and password. So how do you get your username and password in Windows machine? I mean, how do you get your username in Windows machine? So basically you can go to this command prompt where you can type who am I. So this will help you with your system name. This is my system name, Discovery Hub, and this is my username. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste this, and once it is pasted there, I'm going to enter the password. So I'll just collect my password and let me check. So once you click on create, this has to do a connection here. Let me just click on create. It has to connect and say a green signal or a tick mark. Okay. It says unable to create connection for the following reason, invalid connection credentials. So I think I have entered my wrong password. So let me double check my password and enter it again. All right. I think I got the password. Okay, let me try now. So now it should be able to establish a connection. As you can see, created Excel data connection successfully, green tick mark. So I think once it is done, you can close this and you can see that connection showing up here. Now you go back to your workspace and go back to your semantic model and go back to your settings. Select the gateway, and now you can see the connection that we set up just now is showing up here. You can see it's trying to establish. So once it is showing up here, the last step that you need to do is map to this connection. So the path is showing up, the connection is showing up. Now you have to just map it and click on apply. So once you are done with these steps, you have successfully set up a gateway between this cloud and your local machine. Now you can see this data source credentials is showing up and says admin has granted access, credentials are not required. Yeah. So now you can see this refresh button is enabled and you can start refreshing your model. So what I do is, let's say I wanted to refresh sometime. I can set up my refresh time, right? I can set up sometimes right now 23:47. Let me mention 12 p.m. daily, apply. So daily at 12 p.m. or sorry 12 a.m. I'll put it, so that daily the midnight it will be refreshing. That is in next 13 minutes it'll refresh. So if you wanted to refresh, do not wanted to wait for the next refresh, which is at 12 a.m. right, which is 31st, which is 15 minutes from now. I can go back to a on-demand refresh, right? I can go back to the semantic model, and you can see there is an on-demand refresh here. This refresh now button will refresh the dataset right at the moment. So right now you can see this semantic model was last refreshed at what? I'm sorry, I have to look at this above report, right? So DAX decoded, sorry. So this report was last refreshed at what? 11:41 p.m., which I was just published. So what last refresh means what in this case? The report when you published it, right? So that is the timestamp it will pick up as a last refresh date. And already we have scheduled the refresh, so you can see the next refresh time also, which is next 12 minutes. But I wanted to go ahead and refresh now, which is an on-demand refresh. So it will, once I click on this button, it will change this time from 11:41 to 11:48, like 23:48, whatever. Let me just click on this, and you can see preparing for refresh, and you can also see a refresh is happening here, right? This symbol, and you can see this time will change from 11:41 to 11:48 or 11:49, depending upon when it just gets completed. So once this refresh is done, I have to reopen my report and should be able to see the updated data, which is what? The new channel that was added a while back ago. So now you can see it's 11:49 p.m. So the data is refreshed. You can go back to your report and you should be able to see this data showing up here. So usually what happens whenever you open the report many times, just around that time it won't show up because the cache will take over and show you the previous, just before some data. So in order to see the latest data here, you need to click on another refresh button. Just in some cases, you can see there's a top. This will refresh the data from your semantic model. Just to refresh the visuals. So now you can see Analytics Hub is showing up right there. So if you have added some more data, like let's say after 11 minutes in between you added some more data in the Excel sheet, automatically this will be refreshed here on the cloud. So this is the end-to-end implementation of a Power BI data gateway. So this is a demonstration. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.